Hello and welcome back to the program. This year marks 75 years of diplomatic relations between Indonesia and Turkey. On Wednesday, February 12th, Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan made a state visit to Indonesia and met with President Prabowo Subianto at the Bogor Presidential Palace. The two leaders discussed various important topics, including cooperation in the fields of economy, defense, and regional and also global issues. And now with us in the studio, we have our Ambassador of Türkiye to Jakarta, Indonesia, High Excellency Talip Kucukcan. Hello, marhaba, Ambassador.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you. Welcome back to our studio because this is not your first time for coming here to CTV studio. So we can call President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's official visit to Indonesia as a historical visit. Could you please elaborate?
I completely agree with you. Mr. Erdogan came to Indonesia on a bilateral visit 10 years ago. So after 10 years, this is a historical visit of Mr. Erdogan to Indonesia. I believe that this will be a new milestone in the bilateral relations between Turkey and Indonesia. Of course, in different summits, our leaders came together, but in the summits, they don't have much time to discuss the bilateral issues in detail. But this time, both leaders came together and they had a lot of discussions, very comprehensive discussions. In 2022, Turkey and Indonesia have established a high-level strategic cooperation council. They held the first meeting here under the chairman of both leaders. And from each side, at least 5-6 ministers were present at the meeting. Important decisions were taken, and the joint declaration was also shared with the public. So if we look at from this perspective, I definitely agree with you that this is a historical, visit by the President Erdogan to Indonesia that highlights not only the, current relations between us, but also the historical links that the Turks and Indonesians have had since maybe 16th century. I think both leaders in their introductory talks mentioned that historical background as well. On that historical background, of course, during the nation-state period, we are improving our ties and relations in many fields.
Interesting. It's not just in additional or in our era, but it comes before the period from 16th centuries. So that's one of the maybe the untold moment or the untold stories of the meeting between the bilateral meeting between President Prabowo and President Erdogan.
I think history plays an important role, especially between Turkey and Indonesia, because when we look at the historical records of our archives, we see that the first correspondence, first links were established in the 16th century, in the early 16th century. So we are talking about a relations like 450 years. I think that creates a lot of positive images on both sides. Since I arrived in Indonesia almost 2 years ago, I have seen that the image of Turkey is very positive here, and vice versa. When you go to Turkey as an Indonesian, you can enter Turkey without visa. You can see this is something as a nice privilege for the Indonesian citizens. So you can enjoy, and then you will feel at home because of the cultural proximity, because of that historical background still alive in the social consciousness of people. And both leaders have emphasized this, positive background on which we can build up and we can also mobilize our historical, connections for the future.
I'm thinking that there is at least one same activities between the 16th century and 21st century, talking about trade. So right now, Indonesia and Turkey have agreed to increase annual trade to $10 billion with at least 13 cooperation agreements signed yesterday. So which sector do you think will see the most growth? And maybe you can elaborate more on which sector that we should follow up first.
Well, actually, let's look at the current trade volume. It's about $3 billion, which is much below the potential of the both countries. When you look at the size of our economies, both Turkey and Indonesia are in G20. That means they are big economies in the world. But their trade volume is very low compared to the other countries that we are having trade. And both leaders, as you have just indicated, have put a target, of $10 billion. Of course, in order to reach $10 billion, we have to work in various fields. So, of course, the first area of, I think, discussion was economy, how we can improve the economic ties between the countries. Of course, in order to reach $10 billion, you have to increase investment and trade. I think both leaders have emphasized these issues, and they have decided that we should look at the investment opportunities in each countries, and also we should look at the tariffs and all other issues that are now hindering the increasing trade volume between the countries. I think these issues will be on the agenda for the future. So the first issue is investment in both sides. Second issue, of course, is defense industry. Defense industry for both countries are important and critical issues. And as you know, Mr. Prabowo was a defense minister before he became president. So he has been visiting Turkey for many times, and he has seen the potential and the, I think, volume of Turkish defense industry. And there is a lot of opportunity for both countries, especially on joint ventures. It's not only just importing and exporting, but also sharing technology between the two countries. Both leaders have emphasized the importance of these ties, which will, I think, strengthen the bilateral relations and also the partnership. Because when you look at the world, there are several threats, both globally and regionally. I think defense industry, in that sense, will contribute to the consolidations of relations between Turkey and Indonesia. Of course, both leaders have also discussed other issues which would also contribute to the economic relations between the countries. For example, Turkey expressed its interest in housing projects in Indonesia. President Prabowo initiated a project, 10 million housing for the low-income people in Indonesia. And Turkey's actually construction industry is very powerful. Yeah. Turkish companies are operating both in Turkey, around Turkey, and globally, and they are well respected, they are very powerful. And we would like to see that Turkish companies would come here, invest in housing projects. Of course, housing projects are one part of the issue. And also, yesterday, Mr. Erdogan highlighted that Turkish companies and Turkish investors might be interested in IKEA, Nusantara, for the new development areas. These issues, I think, will be on the agenda again for both countries, because during the high-level meeting, it was not only between the leaders. I have also seen that many ministers, including trade, industry, health ministers, education ministers, came together to discuss what areas that they can cooperate. I mean, we would like to see some tangible results of the summit rather than only on the rhetorical level. I think that's why, coming to the beginning of your question, that is a historical moment for both countries, because now we are not only talking about theoretical issues or, yes, political, let's say, promises, but also some concrete things on the agenda, like housing, for example. Also, Turkish health industry is quite well known in the world. Our hospitals, our health services, and this was yet another area between both leaders, as discussed in the meeting, that Turkish companies would invest in the health services here. They will build up some hospitals in the country. And I think that will create, again, a very positive opportunity for both countries, as far as the economic side of the issues are concerned. But as you know, when leaders of that caliber come together, they don't only discuss bilateral issues. Yeah. They also discuss some global and regional issues as well.
Interesting. Before we move to the regional and global issues, I think it will be still interesting to talk about the economic impact of the official visit of President Erdogan to Indonesia. Mr. Ambassador, one fun fact that you've mentioned about Turkey health industry. You know, a lot of people, Indonesian people, go to Turkey right now to grow their hair. It's like simple things that actually people-to-people connection between Indonesia and Turkey is growing as well. So in terms of the government, both countries want to put a target and reach the target of 10 billion US dollars.
Yeah, of course, people-to-people relations and contacts are critically important for both countries. As I said, when Indonesians come to Turkey, they feel at home. And of course, Turkish health industry is growing, especially what we call it health diplomacy. Because many people, as you said, come to Turkey for hair transplantation. And I think this is a growing industry in Turkey. Turkey is also trying to export it. But it is not only the hair transplant issue. So we have really state-of-the-art hospitals in Turkey, both state hospitals and also private hospitals, and very good doctors. In all areas of the health issues, they will be prepared to serve Indonesians in Turkey. This will create, as you said, human-to-human contact. So there will be also a cultural impact of, I think, this issue. But during the meetings between the leaders, what they have emphasized on the health issue is that it is not only just traveling between the two countries. What we would like to see actually also education, like medical students, medical staff, so that it is not only the patients going and coming between Turkey and Indonesia, but more institutional links will be established, hopefully. We would like to see, for example, medical schools and medical education institutions cooperate much more closely between Turkey and Indonesia. So now we are actually developing the mechanisms of it. Yeah. And also, it is also something to do with the economy. Countries like Turkey and Indonesia, we have a young population. And that young population is an asset for us because they are part of the workforce. If you want to improve, if you want to develop economically, actually you need to have a well-educated population. And both leaders have actually discussed this issue, how Indonesian students can go to Turkey, have education. At the moment, we have 5,000 students from Indonesia. They are studying in various universities. But now we are also working on different projects to receive more and more Indonesian students, because Turkish universities are well aligned with the European universities, like Erasmus programs, Erasmus exchange programs. That's why we see that if Indonesian students can come to Turkey, it will be a gate to Europe as well. So they will have a good experience, and then when they come back to Turkey, there will be cultural diplomats of Turkey on the one hand, but also they will contribute to the economic development of Indonesia as well-educated human resource for the country.
All right, we're going for a short break, but we'll be back for more of this interview. So please stay tuned with us.